was something that I remember I had a very kind of open A form. I had this riff on an acoustic guitar. A lot of times, most of these songs I wrote either on an electric guitar or on a piano. And why I was one of those that I had been sitting in the acoustic room at Guitar Center one day, and I just started playing around with this and the chord formation, and I knew it was set out to be something very unique. But the story behind why Lisa and I, for whatever reason, besides God's providence, were never able to have children of our own. And what we have found is that God has put us in a position over, especially in more recent years, to be that other set of parents to young people that, for whatever reason, either they never knew their dad, came from a broken home, or dad was abusive, whatever the case may be. And there was this one young girl that was a part of our lives for a number of years that, as she shared her story of never knowing her dad and coming to that point in her teenage years where she was wrestling with some tough questions. And I have to tell you, this song, emotionally, this is probably one of the hardest songs to write. Because what I had to do is I had to try and put myself in a position of that guy. And I just, for the life of me, at the same time, being a guy that desperately wanted to be a dad and trying to understand what's going on through this guy's head, that he would never be a part of his daughter's life. And I also, at the same time, obviously, had to put myself in her shoes to be able to really ask some tough questions. And I will never forget the thing that stuck out to me about this song. I was actually stuck for a while after like verse 1. And I kind of had an idea of what verse 3 or whatever might look like, but I was stuck, and I was sitting up at Seth's coffee shop, not my producer's, but I was sitting up at Seth's coffee shop in Grand Chute, and I remember just begging God, I know you have a powerful message through this, and I know it may even come out controversial. And all of a sudden, the line in the second verse was, "Mommy, just a party you had on Friday night." And the idea that, well, wait a second, here's this kid who grew up in a church and plays gospel music for a living, and we're now hitting on a very controversial idea of a guy who has a one-night stand and never ever had any intention of doing the right thing. The thing that I love about this song, my dear friend Shauna Starbird, who I have been blessed to work with over the years. Shauna has done American Idol. She's done The Voice. She's lived in Nashville. I mean, and she was a worship intern at a local church down La Pond. And I knew that this needed to be a female vocal with just the right kind of duet harmony in the chorus. And you were there. She came in, and I think it was one take.
It was like a couple.
Yeah, and just knocked it out of the park. Same day. And then my dear friend Tony Palacios from Played with Guardian and Michael W. Smith, he was gracious enough to put down some of that delicious stuff that only Tony could do, but really made something that was already incredibly personal and emotional, just made it so special. Getting that down, I think it was a case of the acoustic guitars. I kind of had in my mind. Just a very simple, where a lot of my songs are either keyboard driven or electric guitar driven. This was going to be very tender, and the acoustic guitar just pretty much flowed. It didn't take a lot that we had to put down, and then Shauna came in, and I can remember running into Tony up at the Danny Goki show up in Green Bay, and he said, "Look, man, just send me something." And I think we had decided on sending him that, and thank you, Tony. It was amazing. The thing that I'll never forget about that is I have an endorsement with a fantastic guitar company that Tony actually led me to, and Zane Guitars up in Anaco. And the funny thing is I had actually worked on this guitar up at the shop that we ended up sending to Tony. And it's in his arsenal of, he does a lot of sessions with it and whatnot. And he actually used that guitar when we shipped it out, you gotta understand, I played it. I played a lot of these guitars before we would ship them out to artists. And I played this one, and I remember thinking, I said to Rick, please don't send this one out. Please don't send this one out. And then of course, Tony records all the guitars on this track with that guitar. It's like, oh, it sounded so good.
It was full circle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.